and welcome to the third session in this little series, supporting you to make the best ROI that you possibly can by successfully selling at all three of these exhibitions, the Meeting Show, Travel Tech Show, and the Business Travel Show, in a very short time, not very long at all. This session is all based on following up. Hopefully you're watching this before you're exhibiting, before the show is happening. I'm going to reference some of the past workshops as well, just so that you know. A little bit about me, if you don't know who I am. My name is Kate. My background is in proactive and reactive sales, so bringing in leads to the business, proactive, building revenue, hitting budgets, exceeding budgets, and managing conversion strategies within reactive sales teams as well. For the last 4.5 years, I've been supporting businesses along with my team to increase their conversion, make more money, etc. And we love it. It's the best job in the world, in the best industry in the world. A little fact about me: I fall over all the time. I'm really unsteady on my feet. I've broken my ankle. I've done it all. And so yeah, a little bit embarrassing, but there we are. A short overview of Selling Savvy. We offer niche sales training to hospitality, events and tourism industry. We like to train tangible tactics and actions, so things that you can literally go away and implement straight away. Not lots of theory, just things that you can go and make positive changes. And ultimately, we want to increase conversion and create moral salespeople. We're not about manipulating your clients. We're all about building really strong, good relationships with them. So that's a little overview of us. The plan, this is what we've been doing over the last few months. These sessions are all on the website. So if you sign in to whichever exhibition you're exhibiting at, then you can have a rewatch these sessions and see what we went through. We started off with prepping for an exhibition. So a few months before, what you can do to kind of maximize the success on the day. Session 2 was about successful selling at the exhibition. So on the day, what can you do specifically? What conversations can you have, etc. And then this is your video, and there's a downloadable checklist that goes alongside this. And this is going out to you for you to watch prior to the show. So what is your objective for this show? I'm just recapping over the last few sessions on these bits, because actually it's so important, even at the follow-up stage, to work out what you want to get out of it. So why have you booked this specific show? Why are you not going for another show? Or why are you exhibiting rather than attending? And why have you chosen this show over other exhibitions? I'm not going to go through these in detail because I cover them in session 1. Is it because you want to get in front of large corporate bookers? You want to get in front of agents? They're your target market for this show. Is it because you simply want to catch up with regular bookers? You know you can see lots of clients in a couple of days back to back, and therefore it's a good use of your time. Is it because you're interested in team building business? Or is it because you want to grow your brand awareness? Is it not necessarily an inquiry or a lead driven process, but is it because you're launching a new venue or you're rebranding, or there's a reason behind it and actually you just want to showcase what you're about? So how to meet your objectives? Again, we went through this in the previous session. How is the success of the show measured? What actions do you need to take to ensure you are meeting your objectives? And how will you communicate objectives, actions, and wins to the team? I'm glossing over this because obviously it's in more detail in a previous session. However, I felt it was really important to include in this follow-up session, because actually everything you've done up until this stage is all based around what your objectives are and how you're going to measure them. And therefore your follow-up needs to be relevant to that as well, in line with that. So how is the success of the show measured? How are you then going to follow up to make sure that you hit those objectives? What conversations do you need to have? What sorts of people do you need to be in front of, etc.? So make sure that you've got your clear objectives to start with. I'm going to go through the do's and don'ts of follow-up now. Hopefully you've had really strong conversations, really consultative conversations. If you're not sure what that means, then watch the previous videos. And therefore you want to make your follow-up as consultative as possible and as tailored to those conversations as possible. So these do's and don'ts of follow-ups will help you do that. So starting with do, prioritize your leads list. especially if you're using the Zapper, you'll come out with hundreds of leads and you're thinking, well, how do I start with this? And that's when us as salespeople get overwhelmed with workload and just send out a bish bosh bash solid email to everybody. What you want to do is prioritize it in order of your objectives. So that's why I wanted to cover objectives. What's your measurable objective and which leads are going to get you to that objective? So prioritize them in a big Excel spreadsheet. Don't rush it. You've spent a lot of money on this exhibition and a lot of time and energy. So now is the time where you can maximize that ROI. So it's not a quick job to follow up. Focus on the decision maker. So if you've got several different leads from several companies, then hone down on who the decision maker is. You obviously want to follow up with everybody, because otherwise it's a bit weird if you just ignore some people and follow up with others. But if you've got several people from the same business, make sure that you're slightly tailoring each follow-up to the conversations that you had, and then really hone in your efforts on the decision maker when you are prioritizing. Take your time. As I said, you've spent a lot of money, time, energy, etc. On this exhibition. Follow-up sometimes or often really feel like an afterthought for people after they've exhibited at shows. It's exhausting for you days. You've had great conversations. You've gathered lots of information from them. You've got your leads list. You've had to take down the show and then drive in this heat back to your business, to your offices. And then you think, oh, the last thing I want to do is sit at a computer and slog through this list. Actually, it's really important, because the sales, the revenue, the ROI is all in the follow-up. It's really, really rare that somebody's going to book you cold at an exhibition. Everything you do after the exhibition is going to lead to that ROI. So please take your time with it. Block out your diary for the next, well, I'll give you a time frame in a second. Block out your diary for a few days, or at least a full day, to go through it all. Here we are. Between 5 and days post-show. So follow up between 5 and days post-show. Excuse me. This is a bit of a sweet spot. We find that as soon as an exhibition is finished, or the next 1 or 2 days after, or the next week even, the people who've attended and had the good conversations, the bookers, the clients, have a full inbox to get back to, and then they're having lots of keynotes email them, oh, would you like to have an appointment? It's a bit like overwhelming. So actually leaving it a little bit longer is a really good idea. It means that their inbox is going to be clearer for you to sit at the top there. Also, if you wait past 10 days, the kind of oomph is a bit gone. Not saying that they won't remember you. I'm sure they will remember you, but their day-to-day life's kind of started back again, and work's getting busy, and therefore they're going to start thinking about other things. So try and prioritize your 1 or 2 days where you're going to spend time following up between 5 and 10 days post-exhibition. Use your CRM. Hopefully you've got a CRM that you use anyway. If you don't, then tut. But hopefully you've got one, and you can use this to obviously input all of your leads into there, and along with that, on their profile you should have all of the details of the conversation that you've had. So whether that was talking about their holiday in Italy, or whether it was talking about their next big event, or whether it was both. Lots and lots of bullet points, whatever you discussed, that all needs to go into your CRM. Your follow-ups should be sitting in the CRM as well. So every time you follow up, and then use it to schedule activities or tasks or whatever you use to follow up a few days later or a week later, depending on whether they reply to you, etc. So use your CRM to give you a structured proactivity or prospecting, really, timeline. And then every morning go into your CRM, look at who you need to follow up with, look at who you've emailed the week before and whether you need to call them, etc. So without using your CRM, these things really fall by the wayside, or they're just not structured, and then you get in a bit of a pickle, and who have I emailed, who haven't I got in touch with, and then people kind of fall through the gaps a bit. So make sure you're maximizing it by using your CRM. Work with your reactive team. So if you have a reactive sales team, work with them to talk to them about all of the people that you've spoken to. It doesn't have to be like an in detail, this is a conversation I had with this person, just needs to be glimpses of the companies that you've spoken to, because it might trigger something like, oh, I've worked with them at a previous business, or oh, they inquired a few weeks ago actually. So just have conversations with them about if they've heard of any of these businesses. That will really help your follow-up, because then when you're following up, you can say, it was great to meet you, ask some questions about the conversations you talked about, and then say, actually, I was chatting to our coordinator, Sarah, about our conversation, and it turns out she used to work with you at a different property. These sorts of little tidbits build huge rapport, and that's what's going to help people to reply to you and book appointments with you. So go a little bit wider than just your conversation, just to see if there's any other tidbits you can gather from the team. Confirm next steps. This is at the end of every single section of the sales cycle. So within your follow-up, what's going to happen next? And that should be, I'm going to go through this in the don't section, that should be something that you are going to do next, not necessarily something that you want them to do. So in the don't section, we've got, you don't use a template. I'm a big fan of a template, and I agree with using a template in a loose sense, but when I say don't use a template here, I mean don't copy and paste everything, and don't send the same email. This is so obvious to people when they get emails. I get follow-up emails having been zapped at shows, and I'm like, oh, I'm so not relevant to you. Like, and you know that we had a conversation about it, so don't send me a brochure, with nothing else to it. So don't send the same email. Don't send tons of attachments, because no offense, I'm sure marketing have done an amazing job and they're beautiful attachments, but people won't go through reams and reams of images. If you want to attach one thing, then that's fine. I wouldn't even attach more than one at this stage. They haven't actually asked for anything, let's remember. You are trying to hook them. So by sending them lots and lots, they're just not going to do it, and your email's going to get lower and lower down the priority list. So don't send lots of attachments. Don't sell. This is not the time to be promoting yourself. You had that opportunity in a consultative way at the show, and you will have that opportunity once you've booked an appointment. On this follow-up, this is not the time to sell proactively. It's the time, think about what your objectives are. Are your objectives to get appointments, to get show rounds if you're a venue? What are they? Okay, they're to get an appointment. Then that is the sole reason you're following up. You're not trying to sell, you're just trying to get an appointment in the diary. And then this comes back to confirming next steps. Don't leave the ball in their court. So you can ask them questions, but when you're confirming next steps, they should be something that you're going to do. So you can ask them, you can say, I'll give you a call in a couple of days to chat about a time to meet up or something. So be proactive with your sales process whilst using your CRM to help you remember and to help with your time frame, but don't be asking them to do things all the time, because it may not happen. So these are our do's and don'ts. I hope it's useful. I just wanted to cover quickly consultative selling as a bit of a reminder. We've just got a couple of stats here which should help you with follow-up. 23% of buyers agree that sellers always put their needs first. So I think this is a really low statistic. It's not industry specific, it's wider than that. But what it's saying is that the majority of buyers think that sellers aren't putting their needs first. So what you want to be doing in your follow-up and in all conversations is putting their needs first and proving that you're doing that. And then 89% of buyers agree that salespeople they do business with are trusted advisors. So the majority of people who book any business or work with any business want a trusted advisor. They don't just want somebody to sell to them. So be that trusted advisor in your conversations and in your follow-up as well. This is the follow-up checklist that you will have in your PDF handout. A lot of it is kind of covered in the to-dos and don'ts, but actually it breaks it down for you. So add name, organisation and contact details to CRM. Write all details of conversations in CRM, as I said, include business requirements and anything that can be useful for rapport building, anything kind of personal information that you talked about. Write an email to follow up between 5 and 10 days post-exhibition. And then we've got a couple of bullet points here about what that should include. Friendly introduction, detail in the email what was discussed, and then confirm next steps. Add your email to the CRM, schedule an activity or a time in your diary for a next follow-up, and then phone within the next few weeks. So you've emailed first, now you're going to phone to see if you can get in touch with them. Again, add all details of phone call to CRM, schedule activity, and then continue this process. This is essentially now a prospecting process of trying to get in touch with them and book an appointment. So these PDFs are available for you to download. I just wanted to do a video to kind of explain where we're coming from and the reasons why we're saying to do all of this stuff. And that's it from me. We are still offering exhibition mystery shopping. We've had lots of people take it up, and we're writing reports to support you to increase your ROI at the meeting show for 2024. It's only $249 plus VAT, and there's also packages if you want to go for 3 shops as well. So that's it from me. Thank you very much for listening. I hope it was useful. My email address is kate@sellingsavvy.co.uk. If you do want to chat, inquire, ask any questions, I'd love to hear from you. Thank you, guys. See you soon.